Okay. So the first question there is asking you to retrieve the spreadsheet side as question 6I, which is this one. And then you obviously have to enable your question there at the end, at the top. Then it's asking you to change question 6I in the footer to question 6B, and you must write the line and insert your examination number left. Okay. So we will go to insert, we will go to header and footer. We will see there's nothing in the header, so we'll go to footer. And then they say we must change this to B. So you can just go in there and change it to a capital B. And then they say that your examination number must be left aligned. So you're going to put in your exam number, which is your ID number, left aligned. It is already left aligned. And then you're going to just go back to view. And if you can't see normal, just click somewhere else and say view normal so that we can get back. If this happens, don't stress. Sometimes this happens to you. Just remember, you're in the footer. So just go up again and make sure everything in your scroll bar is to the left. Okay? Then number 3 is asking you to edit the spreadsheet according to the instructions below. And then you will also look at your page 13 that you have on the question paper. Okay, let's quickly have a look. It says you must insert horizontal and vertical lines, or sometimes they call it borders, exactly as shown in the method that you are familiar with. Now, I don't think you're familiar with any method because this was not part of A4. Okay, so let me quickly show you how I like to do it. All right. I think let me quickly open up a question paper for you so that you can see how it will work. Okay, so I'll quickly go and open up the question paper of November 2024 so that you can actually see how it works. Let's just see, here's the question papers, 2024 November computer practice. Okay. So let's quickly have a look. So this is the thing that you have in front of you. Okay, and I'm referring to this page that we have as page 30, which looks like they haven't copied this. I don't know. I surely don't know how this happened, but anyway, let's go back. What I will do is I'll quickly make a shot for us so that we can actually get access to it. Okay, so let's just quickly, because it's going to help you if you see what I am trying to explain. Okay, so let me quickly just get that. I can quickly just access this and save the image. And then I will go and do it for you, insert pictures. Okay, sorry for this extra thing that I have to do now, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. Here we go. All right, so we've got it in front of you. So this is what you have in front of you. Let's go. Okay, so this is how I want you to look at it. I want you to look at row 1, and then I want you to compare it to what you have in your row 1. Okay, how does your row 1 look currently? Similar, but you see you've got like you have instruction going on there. Do you see that? It says merge and center across the spreadsheet, and it must be bold. Now, surely you can see your spreadsheet goes up until row G. Are you with me? What's going on? Yes. Okay, so you're going to select and G, and you're going to merge and center because it says merge and center, and it must be bold. Do you agree with me? Okay, is that it? Then go to row 2. It says that it's got a number, a city, a January, etc. All of this must be bold and center, and the column headings. So all of this must be bold and center. Okay, and then obviously we don't want our stuff to look funny, so we're going to make it look neat and nice. And then the row 3 looks fine, and so all of the others look exactly the same, except they're asking us to write a line and bold the 10% bonus. So can you see you're going to bold it and write a line? Are you with me? Okay. Now we can go back to the question that says we need to insert horizontal and vertical lines. Okay. Now, if you look at this one, you will see, do you agree with me that all of this that you have, that you see here from I1, not actually I1, it's I2 all the way to 7 and G has borders all in between. Can you see that? Now you can either do this, which makes more sense to me. Just make sure that your line is not on a thick line. It's in a normal line. Okay, and then you'll have to go back and do it again. So choose the line they want. And then there's another way you can do it. You can see now that there is actually around the total all the way to 10%. So all of this is actually in one big one as well. Can you see that? So there's not lines in between. If you look at your question paper, you will maybe see it clearly. There's only one big one that is like around. So you can say outside borders like such. Can you see? And then the next one is almost like there is one big border and then there is one big border. Okay. So that's how I do my borders. Some people do it differently. They like to actually go into the borders, choose their line style, and then they say they want to draw a border. So let's say there was supposed to be a border around this. They will go and click everything here. Are you with me? If you do make a mistake, you can always go back and just say erase that border for me. How do I get out of the eraser or the pencil? I press escape. Okay, so that's up to you. You must practice this. You must get comfortable because you will get a question like that in Info and Excel. Please, darlings, you are not going to take 20 minutes to get your borders ready. If there is something that you struggle with, you leave it till the end. If you have time, you can do it. But for 1 mark, you're not going to waste your time on something that you might not even get right. Because if your border looks anything like this, let's say you put everything right, but that little line appears there, you get 0, which is not nice. So then don't do it if you don't have time. Rather spend your time on stuff you know you can do. Are you with me? Does that make sense? Okay. Now let's go to the next one. It says you must display all figures as a currency with 2 decimals except for no sales. Okay? The number of sales greater than. So they only want, they want F, they want G, they want all of this. Okay, now what I will do is just make a note there. It says you must display the number of sales. So this is what they're talking about. You must display this as an integer. An integer is a number without a decimal. Are you with me? Okay, so nothing else than it just says a number, no decimal. All right. A currency, how do we do formatting for currencies? You can do it if you want to now, because remember, if you do a calculation, it will grab the format. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean when I say that. So we go to the format and we say currency, and it must have 2 decimals. What happens here by column D? What is happening there? There's an error message showing that my column is not big enough for my content to be displayed, so I need to make it bigger. Are you with me? Okay, let's start. They say there that, okay, can you see this also obviously needs to go into currency? Okay. They say you must go to A and determine the average sale in each city. Okay, now average is a function you had to learn in 4. So you're going to start with an equal sign and say IVE, start the average, double click, select the 3 things that you want because it's in the city, press enter. And then do you still remember that arrow pointing down means you need to take that little arrow or cross and take it down all the way. Are you with me? Can you all do that autofill? All right. Now, that is A. We've done A. Let's go to B. They want the largest sales for a month. Okay. Now, what is the difference between large and maximum and minimum and small? Do you know? Maximum determines the highest value. In other words, the biggest one. So if I have to tell you who is the oldest here, my age is probably going to be the maximum. Okay? But if I ask you who is the second oldest here, I'm going to use large, comma 2. Okay? So let's say I've got ages here. We've got 23, 25, 28, 23, another 23, a 29, and 39. Okay? I want to know who is the second oldest, or the third oldest, or the fifth. It doesn't matter, but it's not maximum. Okay? Then I'm going to say equals. Are you with me? Now, I don't know if you worked with FX, but if you haven't in Inform, maybe this is a good time now. So if you click on FX, you must know your formula or your function. You say go, you choose that one. What is your array? This is your array. This is where you're looking for it, yes? And then do you want second? I said second oldest. So you're going to make a little 2 there. Are you with me? And you see it's going to be number 29. Now let's say I want the smallest, second youngest. Then I'm going to use small. Okay, FX. What do I type in here? Small. I say go. I choose small. What is my array? I choose all of my ages. I say I want the third youngest. Then I say 3 there. It's going to be 25. Are you with me? That's the difference. Now, they didn't do this by accident. They wanted you to be confused with largest. They wanted you to say large, which is fine. You could have used large. You could have said equals and go to FX and say large. But that's just confusing because then you have to say actually 0. Okay? And then it's going to give you, or you have actually don't say 0, you say 1. And then it will give you the highest number. Can you see that? But that's not correct to use if you want the biggest number. If you want the biggest number, you are going to use max. Are you with me, darlings? Do you see the difference? It's going to give you the same answer, but I want you to understand the difference between large and max and small and min. Do you understand? So when we're talking about second youngest or second fastest, we're going to make use of the large and the small. Just one quick thing. If we're talking about Usain Bolt, do you know who Usain Bolt is? We used to be the fastest 100-meter sprinter in the world. Okay? Now listen, if I compare his time to somebody else, do you see that if I want the fastest person, I'm going to ask for the minimum time. He's the fastest, but minimum. They like to do that for some reason. So remember, fast means the minimum time. He wins, but he has the smallest amount of time that it took him to run the 100 meters. You understand? So just keep that in your head. Okay. Remember, what does that arrow mean that goes down from B all the way to 7? It's autofill. Okay, are you with me? Let's go to C. What are my total sales? It says determine the total. Now, normally with total, I'm using what function? Can you remember from info? Equals sum. You remember? Double click. Now you will see when I know my functions, I call it actually my info functions, my easy functions like sum, average, min, max. Then I don't use my magic wand here. But the moment I start to say comma something or inverted commas or brackets within the brackets, then I use my magic wand. But you can still use FX for the simple ones as well. Are you with me? Okay. So does it make sense that I'm going to add this up? Yes. And I press enter. And then what do I do? Do you remember you can also autofill from left to right? Is that fine? Why am I not going to autofill the last two? Because the arrow stops there. Can you see that? Okay. So, and also I don't want the sums of average. That won't make sense for now. Okay. The cost is there, the profit. Now, can you see, although I haven't actually edited the currency of the format, can you see because I did a calculation on a currency, it takes on that format, so I don't have to redo the currency again? Okay, please take note of that. So when I multiply with a rand, my answer will be in rand automatically. That's what I'm trying to say. Are you with me? Okay. Let's go to D. D says you must determine the profit as the difference between the total sales and the cost. Now, this is a little bit mathematically. What does the word difference mean mathematically? Minus. Okay? So do you agree a profit is going to be, and we're not going to use a function here. We're going to use a formula. Remember my formulas is multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Ne? So I'm going to say total sales minus this. Enter. Can you see it keeps the currency and I autofill. Are you with me? Okay. Let's go to E. And this is probably the most difficult one from all, except maybe for F and G. Determine 10% bonus on profit. If the profit is greater than 45%, display the answer, or else 0. Okay. So this is going to be actually this is going to be an if. Okay. So they want you or the computer to go and say, if this amount over here is bigger than what? 45%, then you must take 10% of that amount. Are you with me? If it's not, then you must display 0. Okay, so what I want you to understand what they are asking you. If you are going to do this manually without Excel, you would say, okay, this is more than 45%. Do you agree with me? So I'm going to take 10%. And if I say 10% like this in Excel, what does percentage mean mathematically? I divide with 100. Do you remember that from Maths Lit? So press, can you see 10 is 0.1? If I put the percentage there, it's almost like me telling the computer 10 divided by 100. You can check on your phones on your calculator. A 10 divided by 100 is 0.1. Anything that says percentage of, can you remember in maths, of means multiplication. Do you still remember that? So multiplication is that little star, that little asterisk, yes, of that amount. So the answer is going to be that. That is 10% of the profit. Are you with me? But that's not what they're asking. they asking you to check if it is more than 46%, then that calculation we did manually now must happen. Are you with me? So for this one, if they say, oh, it's not more than 46, then a 0 must be there. Are you with me? Now we call that a if. Okay, now this is one of those things where you're going to go straight to FX. Okay, you're going to go straight to FX. And you're going to say if, and you're going to say you want to go. Sorry. Let me just quickly do the if again. So you're going to double click. Okay, now what does all of this stuff mean? We call it function arguments. Okay, what am I testing for in fives? I'm testing if that value is what? Read there. Bigger than or greater than what? 45,000. So you read and you type. Are you with me? Okay, now you can see on the board, I still have the bigger as and the smaller as on the board. Okay, so quickly look there. There's a sheep and the crocodile. The crocodile will always eat the sheep. Okay, and so the mouth of the crocodile will always go to the bigger one. Okay, which will always be the sheep in this case. So if you look at what's going on the board, read with me there. It says the 45,000, it must be bigger than. You read it like that, bigger than. Are you with me, darling? Okay. What happens if it's bigger than, darlings? Then I must do a 10% what? Multiplication of that amount. Are you with me? Can you see I type in the thing that it must do there? It can also be a word like bad, or I'll do another one now that how they do Tinder. Okay? What must it be if the answer is false? In other words, it's less than 45%. Then you must put in a 0. Does that make sense to you what's on the board there? Darlings? Okay. I'm going to say, okay, what do you predict is going to be in the first one? That answer. Does that make sense to you? What do you predict is going to be there? A 0. And what do you think is going to be there? 8,500. Because it's 10%. Can you see how cool that is? Okay, so that's an if function. Now let's do another one. They say, if determine the total sum of sales greater than 30%. Okay, darlings, listen, understand this. They want all of the sales. So let's say, for instance, the sales for each month. So let's say, for instance, if you have, what is bigger than 30,000 here in January? That one and this one. Do you agree with me? What is the bigger one of 30,000? That one and nothing else. Do you agree with me? And so we can go on. So what are they asking? They're saying the yellow stuff must be added together if it is greater than 30,000. Are you with me? We call that a sum if. Sum it up, add it up if it is a value greater than 30,000. Are you with me? It's like me asking you, sum if all the ages above 20. Then you're going to put up your hands. Let's say all three of you are over 20. You're going to say 21, 22, 23. Then it's going to be 21 plus 22 is 43 plus another 24 is a what? 66. Okay? Are you with me, darling? So I'm adding your ages because you are bigger than 20 years old. Are you with me? Okay? So how are we going to do that in a sum if? What do you think we're going to use? Our heads. Hello? No. What are we going to do? we are going to sum if. So we're going to go to fx and we're going to say we're looking for sum if. Make sure you don't make a spelling mistake. There it is. It's not a ifs. It's only one if. Where am I looking for, darlings? I'm looking for January, which will become February, which will become March as my autofill goes on, yes? What is the criteria? What do you think? What is the criteria? You must be bigger than 30,000. Can you see that? 30,000. And then what must happen? You don't have to, what must happen? It will already be there. So you don't have to put anything in there. So you're going to say, okay, and it's going to add it up. And if you add those up, do you get 77? Hello? Hello? Yes. So you're going to make sure that you add all of that up and you will see the others will also disappear. And you only need to do the Jan and Feb and March because the average are not months. Okay? Just go back to number 5. It says the number of sales shouldn't be in currency, but can you see that must be in currency? So just make sure you also put that in currency. Okay, now I love this question paper and that's why I chose this specific one because it shows you the difference between a sum if, a normal if, and a count if. And that's basically how difficult it's going to become in Excel 4 in 5. Okay, so we've done a if, we've done a sum if. Now we are going to do a count if. Okay. Now think about it, the sign one. It says, find the number of sales greater than the number of sales. Now listen to my previous example. How many of the students in the class is over 20? 1, 2, 3. I'm counting them as persons. I'm not adding their ages. Do you understand what I'm saying? So can you see in the first one, that we have there in January, how many is going to be there? 2. I highlighted for you with yellow. How many is going to be in the second one? Okay. Let's do it with a count. Remember count? Count. You still remember count from N4. It counts actual items. Like count A counts text, the amount of names, counted the amount of rows, if you wanted to say it like that. Are you with me? Okay, let's quickly have a look. So we're going to click there. We're going to go to FX and we're going to type in here what? Count if. Don't make a spelling mistake. Say go. Choose count if. What is my range? Darlings, a range is where you want to go. Tell the computer to go and look. Do you agree that is where it goes to look? What is the criteria, darlings? It must be bigger than 30,000. And you say, okay, is it 2? Yes. What's the next one? 1. And I don't know what the last one is. Also 2 because 1, 2. Do you understand the difference between sum if, count if, and if? If not, go watch the video again. Let's do number 7. Sort the spreadsheet in ascending order according to average with all corresponding data. If you need to sort anything in Excel, you never include the headings. Why not? I'm going to show you. I'm going to include it now. You can go to sort and filter. You say custom sort. And then you're going to say you want to sort it according to what? According to average. They said ascending. So it goes from small to big. Remember, descending means down from big to small. A is the aeroplane is ascending, it's going from small to big. Okay, this works because it recognizes the heading, so it's fine. You can keep that in. So that's how you sort it. Can you see it's now sorted according to average? Yes. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Adjust the column widths to fit onto a A4 page. Okay. Now, if you go to, it doesn't tell you if it needs to, oh, it's a landscape. So go to page layout, make sure it's a landscape. How do you know if it's going to fit? You'll have to go to file print and see if it fits. Obviously, it won't fit because I've got my stuff going on here. So let me just delete that. If it doesn't fit, darlings, you cannot go and do this for me. Nia, you're going to get 0. So make sure that you double click in between. Double click will take it to the smallest amount of what it can be without not displaying. So it takes the content, can you see? It takes the content so that it fits the window of that cell. So if you go to file print now, can you see it fits in very nicely? Yes? Okay. Then this 9th one is easy because you need to save it as question 6B. The 10th one says print this spreadsheet without row and column headings. Now let's quickly look at the difference. If I go to file print now, previously you will see there's no ABC, ... Yes, do you agree with me? If I go to page layout and I say print the headings there, and I go to file print, can you see it's got an ABC and the 1, 2 to whatever. That is the difference between with and without headings. Okay. I'm going to stop here.